Hey, good morning. This morning, Carol, my wife, challenged me to try to do a video while on my walk and jog around the forest here in BC and try to answer some of the questions that she gets all the time. In fact, she finds herself answering these questions to people she meets, and thought maybe it would be great to just put some of it out there on a video, especially for our Patreon community. So I'm going to make an attempt to do that, and hopefully the audio quality is good enough in video. Caroline, my daughter, who's our chief editor and videographer, dislikes iPhone footage, but that's all I have at the moment, so let's give it a try. All right, so one of the first and main questions we always get is in regards to how did we get started, or what's your backstory. So I'm going to take a few minutes and try to give you some history. So I had the fortune of growing up in a beautiful, large family. I have 5 sisters and 9 brothers, and my parents were and still are my heroes. I don't know how they did it, but they raised all of us, and now everybody's married and has families of their own. And not only did they raise us to love and respect them, but really everything I've learned in life, pretty much, I've learned from them. They passed it on while we lived at home, and then they allowed us to get married and take those tools and principles and things that we learned at home and then apply them to our own lives. And so I'm very thankful for my upbringing, for my parents. But one thing they taught us was, and gave us, I always call it a gift that they gave us, is what I call a work ethic. And they taught us that you could have anything you want in life if you're just willing enough to go out and work for it, work hard enough to get it. The world doesn't owe you anything. Nobody owes you anything. You're not entitled to anything. You just have nothing but open opportunities ahead of you. And if you're willing to go and work and willing to just maximize those opportunities, you can do anything and get anything you want in life. So that was really a gift they gave us, this gift of a work ethic. And so at an early age, I was the second oldest boy in the family, the 4th oldest child in the family. And my brother and I, we were 16, 17. Now, we had worked on farms since in our early teens, just learning the value of hard work, throwing hay bales and so on. But when we were about 16 or 17, the entrepreneurial spirit really kicked in, and my parents loaned us some basic lawn equipment, and off we went. My older brother Tim really started the business, and I joined him as the first employee, I guess. And we started mowing lawns in our neighborhood and doing odd jobs and just working. And over the years, we built that company up, and one by one, each of my brothers joined the team as well. We also, so I started my career, chapter 1, I guess, of my career as a laborer, just working hard with my hands. But I know I didn't want to stay there, and so I also put myself through college and graduated as an arborist, so that I could really open the second chapter of my career as what I would call a skilled laborer. Just a laborer is a great way to start, but there's no future in that. So my parents taught us, and I understood that by professional development and trying to advance yourself personally and professionally, it opens the doors to and unlocks the doors to opportunity. And so I became an arborist and started the next 5 years as a skilled laborer, being able to offer more to the market, and in turn being able to get paid more. And I really enjoyed that. And so I did that for 5 years as well. And along the way, I met my wife, Carol, and we brought 3 beautiful children into the world. And life was good, but extremely busy, working very, very hard. No real time for holidays, because these were the building years. These were the years we were just investing sweat equity into the business. Wow, that's loud. That's a snowplow. It echoes through the valley. Sound like thunder. So investing and taking very little out, just living, or taking out just what we needed to live and be comfortable, but not spend outside of our means, not to look wealthy or anything. It was, eating dirt, I guess some people say, for many, many years, all the while investing in the business, seeing that and understanding the value of building equity in something. And so when all my friends were buying fancy cars and toys and snowmobiles that cost, $12,000, we didn't have any of that stuff, but we were investing in trucks and equipment. And we continued to grow, and we really put a focus on customer care. That was what we were all about. And so 5 years as a laborer, 5 years as a skilled laborer. And then the idea, at that point, you've heard this saying, if you really love plumbing, don't start a plumbing business, because very, very soon you're not going to be plumbing anymore. You're going to be driven into the job of running the business if you want that business to survive. And that was the experience me and my brothers had. We needed to start really learning about what it meant to build a business, to build a brand. And so that became the job, and we started to hire people to take care of our customers, and we moved into the roles of learning about accounting and bookkeeping and sales and marketing and how to recruit and retain a great team. It was really about learning how to build a brand. We didn't want to just build another company in an already crowded marketplace. We wanted to build something special, something that was known and admired far and wide, not just for what it did, but for how we did it. And so we began to hire people and expand and grow our company, all the while learning how to run a business. Now, that was another 5 years really of, at this point now, we've invested 5 years 15 years in the business, 5 years as a laborer, 5 as a skilled laborer, and now 5 years running a business. And then we would have these annual meetings, and in one annual meeting we were looking for ways to expand and grow. My brothers were older now, a lot of us were getting married, having children. The whole dynamic was changing, and the idea to franchise came along. And so that was really something I was passionate about. I had been learning about that industry, and so my older brother Tim, he said, look, you can take one of the divisions of our company and try to franchise it and go nuts, and with their help, of course. And so that really became my passion, and I became the franchise guy and learned everything I could about franchising, went to school and became a certified franchise executive, and really worked on expanding by recruiting great people to our team, by really understanding how to systemize our company to the point where we had a playbook or an operations manual that someone could get their hands on and really replicate our success in the same industry, but much, much quicker. So each of our systems that we developed were based on mistakes that we had made that either cost us money or cost us customers. And so we put systems in place, documented them, began to train them. And then the other thing we did was really to systemize our culture, really to take the great culture that my brothers had built, really as a family. We all had learned to get along and work together as a family, to work through issues and come out with great resolutions. And we took all that we had learned, not just in a family of 15 kids, but in a business with 10 brothers, and really developed a great culture. We called it the culture of care, and that was an acronym, CARE. It had two meanings: one, customers first, attitude, respect, and enjoy life in the process. And the second usage of the word care was to create a remarkable experience. And that really became something that we began to look for people who understood what that meant, who are predisposed to those values, predisposed to the understanding what it means to create a remarkable experience, not just for our customers, but for our employees, for the people that work for us. We began to realize there's been mountain lion sightings, and me being from back east, I just keep looking over my shoulder every once in a while, but we began to realize that we were no longer responsible for the customer experience. We were responsible for the people who were responsible for the customer, and those are our employees. And so we really went to work at creating a remarkable experience for them in the hopes that they in turn would replicate that in front of the customer, and they did. And so things began to expand through franchising, and I spent 5 years at least doing that, growing across Canada. And then I always say, when you get out there, when you tell your story, then you start to attract like-minded people. And we met a company called the Dwyer Group in the States, and based in Texas. And Dina Dwyer Owens, the daughter of the founder, gave me a call one day and said, we'd like to work with you in some capacity. And we formed a great relationship with that company, and more importantly with the executives there. Dina and her family are some of our closest friends to this day. So they They are a values-based company. They're actually rebranded now to a company called Neighborly. Check them out, neighborlybrands.com. All kinds of, one of the biggest service-based franchise systems in the world, doing $2 billion in services like plumbing and electrical and window washing and now landscaping, because of the Grounds Guys, which is our brand. And so we began working with the Dwyer Group and expanding and growing throughout the US and Canada. And then in 2015, it was time to merge the two companies. And so we went through a beautiful acquisition, which was beneficial for both parties. And the company continues to grow. And at that point, now I'd been 5 years as a laborer, chapter 1, 5 years as a skilled laborer, chapter 2, 5 years learning about running a business, chapter 3, 5 years as a franchisor and learning how that whole thing worked, that's chapter 4. And then the acquisition really freed up a lot of my time, and it allowed me to pursue some of my personal dreams. And so Dina actually runs a course, she still does, called Design Your Life, and I sat through a Design Your Life class. By the way, look up DinaDwyerOwens.com. She's a motivational speaker and just an amazing person. But she runs it. In fact, Dina, you're probably watching, she's one of our patrons. So this video is for our beautiful Patreon community, and Dina is one of our supporters. So, but anyway, Dina runs this class called Design Your Life, in which she teaches the attendees to really formulate some plans and dreams, business goals, but which I was already really good at. I was good at business goals, but where I was weak was personal goals. And she said, I want you to dream personal dreams and write them down. What do you want to do as a person, as a family? And I thought about it, and I said, man, I mean, I would love to go on a 3-month road trip with my family without a cell phone, without any worries. And that was such a big dream that I almost didn't write it down. But she encouraged us to say, if it isn't impossible, then maybe it's not big enough. So dream something impossible, dream something that right now could not happen. And that was something that couldn't happen. I was so busy building the business that our vacations as a family were really, we'd go to our conferences, we'd hold these conferences all over the country, and then we'd stay an extra day, maybe 2, and jump in the pool with the kids. So we combined work and business as best we could. And so to have a 3-month road trip with no business calls or emails or anything was impossible, but I wrote it down anyway, put it on a sticky note, took it home. She said, put it in front of you on your mirror, somewhere where you're going to see it, and then just continue to dream. And you know, your personal goals often fuel your business goals, and we did that. And somewhere along the line, I realized, you know, when the kids were young, I got together with Carol, and the business was taking me away from my family a lot, and I was working hard and traveling all over and speaking. It was important work I had to do. And I really didn't like how it was taking me away from the kids. And I didn't want them to feel like they were competing with the business for my attention, because then they'd grow up hating the business, like happens so often. And so many people express how their kids just didn't understand why their parents were working so hard and what the business was all about. And somewhere along the line, we just got the brainchild, you know, we need to have a vision as a family. See, we had a vision as a business. I had what I call a manifesto, which is a 3-page, very detailed vision for where we are going 3 years in the future. And I would share it with my team at least once a month, and we'd read that vision as if it was real. We talked about expansion to other countries that hadn't happened yet, but we spoke about it on a regular basis. And one by one, each of those dreams, you could call them, came to pass or came into being. And I think that's because we visualized them so clearly that we started to make decisions. We started to speak the language of those things actually materializing. And so I thought, you know, if I'm doing this with my team once a month, I should be doing that even more often with my family at home, but not sharing the business goals, sharing our own personal goals. And so we started to do that. We became a practice as a family that we would dream big dreams and share them together. That way the kids started to feel involved. They started to understand why we're working so hard, why we're traveling to these conferences, why we're, you know, investing so much time and effort in the business, because they felt like it was theirs too. We had this dream to go on this road trip. And so I talk about when the business sold, we didn't even hesitate. We knew exactly what we wanted to do, and we pulled that little sticky note off the mirror and we bought a motorhome, and the epic family road trip began. So that's a little bit of our history, how we've been doing things. I'll share another video later because we're at 15 minutes where I talk about what we've been doing since we left, some of the things the kids are learning on the road, some of our vision and our mission. Our mission is, by the way, to share the culture of care. That's always been my mission, and we want to inspire 1 million acts of care, of creating a remarkable experience at work so that workplaces are better, because that affects home life. At home, so that home life is powerful and wonderful for children to grow up in, and it spills past that into the community, into the places we live, the places we visit. You know, as we travel around, we try to care by leaving the people we meet and the places we visit a little better than we found them. And so I'll talk more in depth about that. There's so much I hope to share with you over the next couple of videos. So thanks for your attention. Thanks for being a patron of our account. The money you give, the $10 a month or whatever you're donating, goes to Caroline and the kids. That's, you know, they put so much effort into creating these videos, and they enjoy it so much, and every little bit helps. They feel like they're not just doing it, they're actually, you know, generating a little bit of income to help pay some of the expenses, and they can see into the future that this could be a business. The whole content creation idea could actually be a viable business. So we thank you very, very much for being a patron. We'll see you in the next video. I also just thought, you know, if you have any questions you would like answered, please put them in the comments below. If you found this helpful, comment below as well. We all love hearing from you, and trying to answer any questions you might have, whether that be about family life or business. I'd be happy to try and answer those for you.